କେମିତି ନେବି ଆଗରେ ସବୁ ରହିଗଲା ନେବି କେମିତି ମୁଁ କହିଦେଉଛି ତାକୁ ରାଜେଶକୁ ସେ ଫଟୋ ନେଇଯିବ Mobil ada kan? Mudah seperti biasa.
Now I request our volunteers to felicitate our guests. Now we welcome our Honorable Chief Guest, Honorable Justice Alok Arade, Honorable Justice Supreme Court of India.
चलियो ठीक है जी
We welcome you, sir. The city. A city having a history of 1,000 years. And now we welcome Justice Sri Anupamkumar Patnaik, Honorable Justice of Supreme Court of India, and he's our own Justice A.K. Patnaik in CUTTACK in
विशेष न्याय व्यवस्था जो विचार व्यवस्था आईन व्यवस्था आपको वृद्धि करुवा और भविष्य आग्रह व्यक्ति जड़े एमती व्यक्तित्व थे जे ये मार्ग देखी जाए शिक्षा आम निज जीवन में निज व्यक्तिगत यात्रा लागू कर प्रथम स्वागत करें जहाँ को केन्द्र कर एकाठी जहाँ जो आयोजन केन्द्र जो उद्देश्य लेखक कारण आम समस्त एकाठी से सभार केन्द्र बिंदु आकर्षण आम समस्त आसे उन्मोचन पाए स्वागत करी आज मुख्य अतिथि गणराशि पहुंची आमको आशीर्वचन देवे सर्वोच्च न्यायालय जस्टिस श्री आलोक स्वागत करी आम घर अच्छा श्री अनंग कुमार पट्टनायक आम परिवार सदस्य कहूँ कारण ये जो आयोजन आ पक्षे निरंतर प्रेरणा आज प्रथम सेवेंथ आज आम घर अच्छा मुझे स्वागत करुच्ची वरिष्ठ प्रशासक लेखक श्री स्वागत करुच्ची वरिष्ठ आईनजीवी श्री सर्जकांत पाणी महोदय एवं आपण मान गणमाध्यम भाई बहन कारण कौन सी सभा गोटे पुस्तक सभा जीवन में विगत प्राय 19 वर्ष आम 800 अधिक पुस्तक 300 अधिक पुस्तक उन्मोचन सभा आयोजन कर अतिथि मैंने सभा करती बुझा सेमती गोटे नुआ शिशु आज जन्मलग्न गोटे नुआ पुस्तक आम ग्रहण को आशीर्वाद
now it's time to release the book. So this book, is it the account of a son of his father? But the man who was his father, so is it the narrative and the father, or this book is about the intellectual journey of a great humanity? So let's release the book. Now I request Justice RAVENSHAW, Justice CUTTACK, and others to kindly read the book.
भाई आगरे आसुनी रेकर्डिंग चलती
and the post
है
the foreword is written by Justice Patnaik and the post script is written by Justice Muralidhar. So, what I was asking, is it about his father or this book is about Justice Gatikrushna Misra, the longest serving Chief Justice of Odisha High Court, or a man who travelled from a small village of Denkanal to CUTTACK and to whom Justice Muralidhar said the man had come to Supreme Court. Supreme Court missed it actually. So it was the opinion of Justice Muralidhar. Now I invite Mr. BIRAJA Misra to speak his author's word. Now let's hear from BIRAJA.
I knew him as a father, but most people know him as an institution. Most people, I'm not saying all, particularly members of the legal fraternity in Odisha know him as an institution. So I have covered a journey from the childhood all the way till his subordinate judiciary stint, then going into taking the bold decision of getting into legal practice when he was already married with 4 children, and then on to successful legal practice and on to the High Court, and then the judgeship period. Post-judgeship, he did a chamber practice for a very long period of roughly about 32 years, and lived a very ripe age, to a ripe age of life. I'm actually perplexed that people still remember him. He debuted his office in 1975. He never took any position thereafter. Whatever came to him, he refused. Plus, he retired in 2009, and 16 years later, whenever I have had the good fortune of inviting several people whom I don't know, I was astounded with the response which I received. Truly astounded. So it seems like everybody has taken him to his inner heart, and somebody even used the word unparalleled at that time and unparalleled till today. Somebody, I do not know who quoted him, but some member of the judiciary or the bar, I don't remember honestly. As far as the book is concerned, I have said all that I have to say. I will not repeat anything of the book here. It's not relevant, because all of you who are interested in him should pick up a copy and read it from end to end and understand what has gone through. But I'll give you the bit of a genesis of why I wrote the book. Actually, I spoke to him before, around early 2000. Then why don't you write your autobiography? 6-7 years before he passed away. So he says, I'm disinclined. I'm a very candid person. I'll speak the truth. I'll offend a few people. And I don't want to blow my own trumpet. I'm far from that. So then, since he declined my request, some couple of years later I told him that if I read the book, he would give some inputs. So actually he was forthcoming. He told me, if you write it, and I will give you inputs in terms of some things which you don't know, and therefore you will get the overall picture. But I'll give you definitely inputs on my life, on the judiciary, where it is going, different aspects of the judiciary. So if you read the book, it talks about several aspects of the judiciary, such as judicial transfers, such as elevation, the earlier process of elevation to High Court and Supreme Court, and the subsequent change in 1993. all that is covered, but all that is covered in his language. Actually, I have just taken it more or less verbatim. I have not added anything to it except putting it in sequence and chronological order. Then he passed away, and I went to go. But to say BIRAJA, it's a biography called Hela. But anyway, it triggered me into going into large interaction with multiple people. Pardon my thing, some people like Misra who knew very well but could not touch base. But lots of people were no more, most of them are no more. To get information about him, about his as a man, as his lifestyle, and his judicial conduct, his judicial, all that I got from, I would say, not less than 50%. And the gist was a high order of legal capability, but much more than the legal capability which people said is available throughout the country. A lot of legal capabilities are there. High degree of independent-minded person, high degree of integrity. So this was, bulk of the discussions, the collation of that. And then during COVID period, I sat and put pen to paper. And then I got a first draft. I circulated to several people who were intimately again familiar, but several people have passed away in the meantime. So, my siblings, two are present here. Dr. Gatikrushna, Misra, pulmonologist, eldest brother. So I showed it to him. My middle brother who has passed away, Misra, who was also, very involved with him and all that, based in Delhi. And my elder sister, Misra. I showed it to them and few other people. I honestly do not, not relevant to quote here, but they all gave inputs and perspectives. I modified it. Certain legal experts like Anagababu told me that you should cite some case laws which are, profound or very informative regarding whatever during each of these periods, advocate period, hardship period, and practice period. So I had to engage a legal researcher to do the documentation, cull the data, which took a long time because CUTTACK lot times some of that was written, has folded up and stuff like that. So here's the thing. So ultimately I came out the book and I'm grateful to Penguin Publishers since I'm not into, this is my first book, in this genre of a biography. I've written another book, but not in this genre. So I'm grateful to Penguin Publishers for picking me up and saying that okay, we will take it head on, we'll publish the book and we'll do, and he has done a wonderful job in a very stringent timeline. I'm grateful to Justice Arate for coming and gracing this. And I'm very grateful to Anagababu, who actually has been a guiding force and has mentored me throughout the process as to how to go about every single call I have to make. I have to get a proper response. Vivekavu has been a source of inspiration for 40-50 years, so less said the better. So this is the, actually there may be several errors of omission and commission. If there are any, I have not. And there are many anecdotes which may pinch somebody. The intention is not to pinch. No names have been given. No names have been given. But anybody who is an informed, intelligent reader can decipher who is the person. So this is what it is. I think each one of you should read it, will benefit in some way or other, at least to get some encouragement. If it resonates with you, then you can pick up some courage from his lifestyle and livelihood. And move on. That is what I wish to say. Thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate the response you have received. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, sir. In Odisha,
जोड़ा जा सिलेक्ट
we won't look into the life of our own victim. We have very few autobiographies or biographies from the legal fraternities. We have great judges, but we don't have much to talk about. Everybody talks about M.C. Chandra's book. So in that sense, I remember one very good biography, autobiography of Fali Narima, before memory fades. So before memory fades, everybody should write their account of life. That is necessary. Now I invite Mr. Vivek Patnaik, a very well-known administrator, a cultural enthusiast, writer, and a public intellectual to speak on this book.
Members of this audience, let me start by first congratulating this book. Twice. People forget events. They also ignore personalities. In the process, new generation doesn't know what events took place in the past and what personalities determined the events. For the posterity, such a book must be written. Usually, historians write about emperors, kings, and rules. Very seldom they write about judges. Except in English language we come across an expression, Daniel come to judgment in Merchant of Venice. Well, Daniel was a Jew from Kingdom of Israel. He was abducted by those who have read Bible, abducted by Nebuchadnezzar and taken to Babylonia. And he was brought back by the Persian king Cyrus and back to the kingdom Israel. He was known for his intellect, knowledge, skill, impartiality. And that's why when a good judgment is delivered, very often people say, Daniel has come to judgment. In that context, I thought I must mention about Justice Gatikrushna Misra. Justice Gatikrushna Misra hailed from a princely state of Dhenkanal. He was a brilliant student. He had prodigious memory. He was a student of history and philosophy. I knew him personally, firstly because when I was an assistant collector, he was the Chief Justice, and I had called on him. And later, I came to know him when he was Chief Justice and I was Additional District Magistrate. And finally, before he retired, he had come to my district when I was District Magistrate in Mayurvanj. And I had a lot of discussions with him about various legal matters. And the question arose at that point of time whether fundamental rights can be suspended or not, or can they be enforced or not right to liberty, right to life and liberty. His view was very clear. He reminded me of Harold Jalaski, who said, rights are inherent. They are only recognized by the state. Well, he wrote many momentous judgments. I've read many of them. I had the occasion to interact with him after he retired. I knew his mind, and he came from a distinguished family. His elder brother was judge of the High Court. His niece was also a judge of the High Court. And his nephew was the Chief Justice of High Court also. He had a very sharp intellect. Since I knew him well, I knew his understanding of individuals. There is a book written by Aaron Barak, the former Chief Justice of Israel, Judge in a Democracy. There, Barak has written, the role of the judge in a democracy is to protect the Constitution and establish rule of law, and must ensure there is a link between society and the law. I think this essence is embodied in the philosophy of Justice Gatikrushna Misra. I do not wish to take longer time than this. I thank BIRAJA for having invited me to speak on this occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Patnaik. Next, ମୁଁ ଯାହାଙ୍କୁ ଡାକିବାକୁ ଯାଉଛି ତାଙ୍କୁ ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡ୍ୟୁସ୍ କରିବାର ଅର୍ଥ ହେଉଛି ମା ଆଗରେ ମାମୁଁ ଘର କଥା କହିବା। ଜଷ୍ଟିସ୍ ଅନଙ୍ଗ କୁମାର ପଟ୍ଟନାୟକଙ୍କୁ ଓଡ଼ିଶାର ଲିଗାଲ ଫ୍ରେଟର୍ନିଟି ଆଗରେ ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡ୍ୟୁସ୍ କରିବାର କୌଣସି ପ୍ରକାରର ଦୁଃସାହସ ମୁଁ କରିବି ନାହିଁ। Everybody knows that, but one line I would like to say, there are judges, but there are very few judges with a strong spine. Justice A.K. Patnaik is one of the judges of our time who is having a very strong spine, who stood out all his life for judicial accountability, constitutional morality, and one of the bravest academic judge. So now I invite Justice Ananga Kumar Patnaik to give his keynote address on this book and on Justice Gatikrushna Misra. Welcome, sir.
My keynote address is to start from 6:55 as per the agenda. We are now at 6:35, ahead of time. So I think since it's a keynote address and we have a lot of time in hand, I would like to speak more about Justice G.K. Misra, consume that extra time so that you will understand the man Justice G.K. Misra. And now before I do that, let me pay a compliment to Mr. Kedar Misra, since he paid a lot of compliment to me. I see him in YouTube channels. And he mentioned about my being a spineless judge with a spine. I would say he's a journalist with a lot of spine, lot of courage, and he's totally independent, critical of his views. I must compliment him. Now, what Mr. Justice Alok Arode, I saw him as a lawyer when I was the Chief Justice of the Police. Very capable lawyer, argues to the point, well versed in civil law, and I thought I should recommend him for judgeship. I recommended him before he was 45 years. But the Supreme Court Collegium held it up till he attained 45 years and then appointed him as judge. That's Justice Alok. I thought when Mr. BIRAJA Misra asked me who should be the chief guest, I thought it would be befitting for Justice G.K. Misra's book, biography, to be released by Justice Alok Arode, who has those qualities of pointed arguments, grasp over civil law, very capable as a judge. Now, I also heard Mr. Subhranshu Panda mentioning about books. Nobody reads them. Nobody buys them. He's absolutely correct. But let me tell all of you who don't read books, how much you lose by not reading books. And if you don't read this book, for example, those who are in the legal fraternity and those who are judges or want to be judges, they will miss a lot. In fact, my love for Justice G.K. Misra is many of the qualities which I'll explain that I saw him when I joined the bar in his judge-like qualities, which I'll describe. I have tried to imbibe them when I became a judge. And I found that they have paid me very good dividends and appreciated by the bar. Now, I have read autobiographies of judges. Roses in December, Justice Chagla. I don't know how many of you read it. You'll enjoy reading his book. He had a very nice style of writing. His English was superb. And he had a tremendous humor also. And he has given them in those books. Let me narrate one of them. When he was a lawyer in the Bombay High Court, there was a cricket match going on, a test match. And the two judges before whom his case was posted, they were very keen to miss out the courtroom and go and watch the test match. The first case was that of Mr. Chagla. He was to argue. They called him to his chamber before the court started and told him, Mr. Chagla, how long will you take for the case to argue? He only 15 minutes. He said, no, you will take the whole day. When we ask you, say, I will take the whole day. Why? We would like to go and watch the cricket match and you will see what we will do in the courtroom. You say the whole day. Is that clear? Yes. Then in the courtroom, they asked Mr. Chagla, here's the first case, how long you will take? He said, the whole day. He said, then the rest of the board, no case will be taken up, we may all go home. They left the courtroom, and then after 15 minutes the case was over. The judges also left and went to watch the cricket match. When Mr. Chagla also arrived at the cricket match venue, they went at him and said, thank you very much for this work. If you read this book, Rose in December, you will find that. I have also read the autobiography of Justice Hidayatullah, M. Hidayatullah. He has written his autobiography, My Own Boswell. He was a judge in the Nagpur High Court. And when he was tipped to go to Madhya Pradesh and take over, when the High Court was to be carved out, he went there and he chose the present High Court building at Jabalpur, which was then a collectorate, to be the High Court building. But Chief Minister will not agree. Pandit and he showed it to him. And then Pandit Nehru tells Chief Minister, Chief Minister Saab, kindly agree, please agree to whatever the Chief Justice is wanting. They don't go building. These are very nice instances that you get to read in autobiographies and biographies. Now, but there are some persons who don't write their autobiographies. As Mr. BIRAJA Misra mentioned, yes, G.K. Misra said, I'll not like to blow my own trumpet. And similarly, when I came to Supreme Court, told Justice G.P. Singh, who has authored the Principles of Statutory Interpretation, and under whom he has written some books. I told him, you write your autobiography. I told his son, Justice Ajit Singh, you note down, sit down, every day you are meeting him, make points, then say to me, I'll author a book, a biography of Justice G.P. Singh. Then he did not cooperate. Justice G.P. Singh would not cooperate. Then I telephoned Justice Ajit Singh, what happened? So he's not cooperating. Why? He said, I want Justice Patnaik to write my Principles of Statutory Interpretation. After me, I don't want him to write my autobiography. These are some of the great judges who have been very great, no doubt about it. But they don't write that, no, they're not willing to write their autobiography. But if someone has to do that job, as Mr. B.A. Patnaik mentioned, that for public to maintain records, so many events happened, that is all recorded in the biography. They are necessary. That apart, it's necessary for the legal fraternity, for the judges to learn what a particular Chief Justice, a particular judge had done during his lifetime. So therefore, Mr. BIRAJA Misra, he has done a great job. He's a son, no doubt, of Justice G.K. Misra. And every son wants to be proud of his father and place and record the achievements of his father. But by doing this, he has also ensured that the legal fraternity has access to a biography of a very great judge and Chief Justice of the Odisha High Court. And how this he could do, as he mentioned, he has collected information from all sources. He has observed him, some based on his own observations, some he has got information from others. Many others by reading from libraries and so forth. So writing biography is a much more difficult job than writing an autobiography. A person who writes his autobiography, he knows what he has done in his life. He keeps on writing, sometimes an anecdote, sometimes a humor, sometimes an event which has remained in his mind. He cannot forget. So therefore he is able to write. But when it comes to biography, somebody else is writing for you. The man may be dead also, sometimes may be alive. Writing biography is a much more difficult job. I must say, Mr. BIRAJA Misra has done a great work by writing this biography. I remember on the first occasion, I met Justice G.K. Misra when I was about to join the bar. My father telephoned to Justice G.K. Misra, who was then Chief Justice, staying in that fort area, that my son would like to meet you, would like to join the bar. All right, send him. I went and met him. He looked at me and oh, so you want to join the bar? I said, yes. Very good. Then he said, you have to do this, you have to work hard, you have to be disciplined. Then he said, my elder son became a doctor, so he could not join the profession. My second son, Bhavani, is indolent. I remember they used the expression indolent. He joined the IAS, is very well off in the head. My third son, Mr. BIRAJA Misra, would have done a great job as a lawyer. But he chose engineering. He passed out from BITS, Pilari, and gone into management. I have no control. I wish somebody had joined my profession. That's what I'm telling Mr. BIRAJA Misra. He has not joined his profession, but he has done a good job by writing about Justice G.K. Misra. When I started my practice in 1974, Justice G.K. Misra was the Chief Justice of Odisha High Court, right up to 1975, 69 to 75. And I used to spend long hours sitting in the bank benches of the Chief Justice Court and watching him. I don't know how many of them have done it here in the hall. I have seen it. And the greatest quality of Justice G.K. Misra was absolutely open. The arguments will be made in the court. Both sides will argue. After both sides have argued, he will analyze the facts. He will analyze the law. And then he will start dictating in open court in a loud voice. You can hear it when you open the door in the courtroom. You can hear Gatikrushna Misra dictating his judgments. That's exactly what I did also as a judge. So most of the judgments were open court dictations. And that shows his competence and analytical mind, tremendous grip over the law and mastery over the facts. That was Justice G.K. Misra. I wish many of the present judges of the Odisha High Court had seen him functioning. Many of the lawyers had seen him functioning. Then things would be much different now in the Odisha High Court. Now, I was very impressed by Justice G.K. Misra, by the way he used to conduct. But I used to wonder how a man from Dhenkanal, rural Dhenkanal, you know, Dhenkanal state was then referred to be a very Garjat area, backward area. People not having much of brains, you know, this is what they say. Right? Dhenkanal area. If you want to say Dhenkanal, if you refer to someone Dhenkanal area, means somebody who does not have much this head. All right. So, how a man from Dhenkanal could rise to these heights? I used to wonder. Till I read this biography. He sent me a soft copy of biography to give forward. And I found he has had a very good academic career, brilliant all through, and he did wonderful in his MA Economics, first class, law also, first class, brilliant all through. And I was surprised to find from his biography that he was playing bridge, he he was doing horse riding and swimming. He was playing tennis. These add to a personality of a judge. Let me tell you, I was also educated in Rajkumar College, Raipur, where all these facilities were there. All these facilities were there. So it's not just academics. All these qualities, contribute to a man's personality. And then personality, he was also doing bodybuilding. Do you know that? Bodybuilding. So that man who has done everything and achieved very well is bound to be very confident in performance in the courtroom. And he was performing like that. Very confident. No complex whatsoever. Right. So that was, and he had an excellent sense of humor. What was that humor? I'll give you just one illustration. He was listening to Dr. Devi Pal on a tax matter. He had come from Calcutta. Devi Pal was an expert in tax law. So, he argued, Dr. Devi Pal, for about 1 hour. He listened to him. Then he summed up, this is your case? Yes. All right, this side, standing counsel of income tax, Mr. A.B. Misra was there. He was his junior also. So Mr. A.B. Misra started arguing. A.B. Misra was not a doctorate. So after he argued for half an hour, he got his point. He said, Dr. Misra, Dr. Misra will now sit down. He sat down. Hey, Dr. Pal argued for 1 hour. And your point is this. When I can mention it in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, why did you have to take half an hour to argue? Dr. Misra. So he had a very, very raw sense of humor. At the same time, he used to put it, and the court is to, burst into laughter. As you know, he had a stint in a judicial service. Short stint, 1940 to 1948. When Odisha High Court was formed, he resigned from service. How many people resigned these days? Look at the confidence of the man. He resigned and joined the bar and started his practice under the first Chief Justice of Odisha, who was then a lawyer, Mr. BIRAJA. And then he had what my father described to me. He had a roaring practice. He was staying in the Romonde Chokka, in that house. The roaring practice. Roaring practice means a lot of money. A lot of money. In the words of Chagla, it poured, did not rain, did not drizzle. It poured when he started doing very well. This is how Gatikrushna is. He earned a lot of money. And then he was a standing counsel of the Commercial Tax Department. My father told me, very good friend of my father. So, my father's case came up before the High Court. And G.K. Misra was the standing counsel, commercial taxes. And the point was, that time there was no tax, sales tax on works contract. Only on sale there was sales tax. My father's case, that was Pattan Company versus State of Odisha. His case was that works contract is not a sale, therefore not accessible to sales tax. Mr. G.K. Misra was arguing, no, that also is a works contract. That is also a sale. And he got the judgment out from the High Court in his favor that works contract is also a sale. The matter went to Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, there was a difference of opinion But the minority view was it is not a sale, J.C. Shah. The rest is just said, oh, it is a sale. That's a famous case, Patna and Company was state of Odisha. But despite the fact that my father and he were very great friends, that never influenced him. Right. Then he telephoned to, after winning the case, he telephoned to my father. You know what he told him? He told him, unfortunately, the bench did not have much of brains. He said, why? Because they were all caste judges. If it had come before what some Brahmin judge, he would have appreciated it better and delivered judgment in your favor. This is the raw humor that he did. My father told me this is what he said. And then, as you know, not only he was a Chief Justice of the Odisha High Court, he also acted as a governor. 2 stints. And the governor house, he had a lot of stories to say. After he retired in 75, 76, he had gone to his son's house in Washington. Dr. Misra and his wife, they are sitting here. And he invited me there to have lunch with them. He said, there was a lawyer. I could not invite you for lunch. Now I am inviting you for lunch. Come here. And he told his daughter-in-law, macho kar do, macho, khaivo se, macho khaivo. So I went and took my food there, lunch. Then he asked me, what are you observing in America? I said, yes, America, very efficient. Efficient, macho. You know my observation? He said, in India, there are thieves. Chori bahut hoch. There's corruption. And India, no efficiency. Corruption, but no efficiency. For example, then he says, when I was staying in Raj Bhavan in Bhubaneswar, my toilet flush never worked. And I had to fill buckets water and pour them to clean my flush. But this will not happen in US. Here also there are a number of thieves. But thieves, big thieves, corruption high level. But efficiency is marvelous. This was his observation. Very raw humor, but correct observation. Now, you heard why Mr. Misra, Justice Misra, despite his competence, despite his being a Chief Justice for so many years, despite all his abilities, he could not go to Supreme Court. The reason I find from the book are two judgments which have cost him his elevation to Supreme Court. First is the judgment of Vijayananda Patnaik and others versus President of India. You know what happened in this case? Biju Patnaik went to the governor and said, I have a majority. I have 70 MLAs with me and a house of 139. Please make me. Call me to form the government. Governor Mr. B.D. Jatti did not do that. Instead, he submitted a report that the government cannot be run as per the constitutional provisions. So there should be 356 imposed and the president rules imposed. That was challenged by Mr. Vijayananda Patnaik in the Supreme Court, in the High Court. And Justice G.K. Misra, sitting with Justice SHRI, they held that governor has violated the conventions of calling the majority, person having majority, to form the government. Then he would have proved it in the House whether he has majority or not. But that report should not have been given, and he condemned the governor. Result was, I think one probable result was, G.K. Misra was not taken to Supreme Court. And Justice SHRI who was to succeed as Chief Justice to Gatikrushna Misra, was not immediately made the Chief Justice of Odisha High Court. Initial proposal was to send him to Sikkim High Court. There he refused to go to Sikkim High Court. Then after a delay, he was appointed as Chief Justice of Odisha High Court. After the emergency, when 1977 was restored, he was appointed. So this happens. If you really want to be a good judge, a brave judge, an independent-minded judge, and do justice, you have to have some sacrifice. If you don't sacrifice these qualities, your self-interest, you are bound to, you know what happened just to H.R. Khanna. He lost his also elevation as Chief Justice. And the second reason is, Mr. B.A. Patnaik was then, I think, the district magistrate and collector in Mayurvanch, when throughout the state, demolitions were taking place during emergency. Houses were broken because the roads have to be widened. Sambalpur, Puri, CUTTACK, all a subject matter of Shah Commission, referred to Panda Commission, K.V. Panda Commission. And he passed a blanket order of injunction. No demolitions, because if you have to do a demolition, first principles of justice follow. Give a hearing. And then thereafter, after you are satisfied that no, this is in public premises, demolish it. This is not being done. So until you hear, no demolitions. This is a blanket order. And that blanket order was not appreciated by the authorities. And the result is, he had to suffer. Right. Now see, the same principles now are being reiterated by the Supreme Court. Bulldozer should not be. Supreme Court is saying so. How much ahead Justice G.K. Misra was there. And same what Justice G.K. Misra held in Vijayanda case, Bombay case, you see what happened. Right. So, lot of principles laid down which ultimately later on became the law of the land. And you heard Justice Mr. BIRAJA Misra telling you he didn't accept any assignments, post-grad assignments. If you read a book on Supreme Court judges, it has been written long back. It's given a history of number of judges. Supreme Court judge. If you see that, you find the Supreme Court judges maintain their independence till they are about to retire. When they are about to retire, the independence goes, and soon thereafter there is a post-retirement assignment. So Justice G.K. Misra rightly refused any post-retirement assignment, to mention that he remained independent right throughout his career because of this quality. He did some chamber practice. He expressed a number of opinions. But this is how a judge maintains his independence. So G.K. Misra was not only a competent judge, but an independent judge with a lot of integrity. This is the legacy that left behind. I wish that people read this book on him, biography, particularly our judges and our lawyers. I'm sure it is going to inspire them a lot to do well in the profession and as a judge. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It was uh, quite enlightening, actually, to know Justice G.K. Misra a little bit deeper and wider. Before inviting the chief guest, let me share a very little thing. I was just trying to know about Justice G.K. Misra, and I asked artificial intelligence. I asked Grok, what is the legal genius of G.K. Misra, Justice G.K. Misra? And the first line that came up, that even he was the first judge in any courts of India to prohibit the word, the address, me lord. So we are talking a lot nowadays, whether judges should be addressed as me lord or not, your honor or not. So it was G.K. Misra in 1970s stopped in the court that address. So now inviting the chief guest, Justice Alok Aradhe. And the introduction is already there, so I don't have to talk much about his caliber. He's the guardian light. He's the protector of Constitution, and now he's sitting as judge in the Apex Court of India. So now I'm inviting Justice Aradhe to address this gathering.
Honorable Mr. Justice A.K. Patnaik, former Judge, Supreme Court of India, and my Chief Justice in the High Court of Madhya Pradesh for more than 4 years, esteemed present and former judges of the High Court of Odisha, dignitaries on the dais, learned senior advocates, members of the bar, Mr. BIRAJA Misra and other family members of Justice Gatikrushna Misra, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to all of you. Justice Patnaik has made my task, as usual, very easy. It's indeed my privilege to be amongst you all on this momentous occasion. On a lighter vein, I may say that a mandamus was issued to me, and in compliance of whereof I am present before you. Today, as we launch the book authored by Mr. BIRAJA Misra on the life and legacy of Justice G.K. Misra, former Chief Justice of High Court of Odisha, we are not just merely unveiling a book, but we are remembering a man who chose principle over power and justice over personal gain. I had an opportunity to glance through the remarkable biography of Justice Misra. The story of Justice Misra doesn't begin in courtroom or constitutional offices. It begins in a village called Gailo in district Dhankanal. Born in 1913 in a traditional family, Justice Misra grew up in an atmosphere of culture, discipline, and compassion. These values imprinted themselves early upon Justice Misra, forging in him an instinctive sense of justice, dignity, and fairness. He excelled in academics as well as in sports. Education took him from RAVENSHAW College, CUTTACK to Patna University. He secured a postgraduate degree in economics and subsequently a bachelor's degree in law. With academic credentials firmly established, Justice Misra returned to Odisha. His entry into judiciary began humbly. He first served as Munsif and then as a sub-judge in various parts of state of Odisha. Being dissatisfied with the constraints of district judiciary, he resigned to take up practice at the High Court. He was known for his fearless advocacy, tireless preparation, and ethical rigidity. Once Justice Misra, while preparing a case, discovered a Supreme Court judgment against his client. He, during the course of his submissions, voluntarily brought the same to the attention of the court and lost the case. For him, victory lay not in winning a case, but in honoring the truth. Justice Misra was elevated as Judge of High Court of Odisha in 1962. As a judge, he demanded preparation, despised indolence, and never tolerated disrespect for judicial time. On 1st of May 1969, Justice Misra became the 7th Chief Justice of High Court of Odisha, a position he held till 30th October 1975. For more than 6 years, he presided over the administration of justice in Odisha with dignity, wisdom, and fairness. He earned the reputation of being a jurist with great clarity, fairness, and moral rectitude. The one who believed in ensuring that justice was not just delivered but also seen to be delivered. His contribution was not limited to judiciary. He served the state twice as acting governor. Even after his retirement as Chief Justice of High Court of Odisha, Justice Misra remained active in expressing opinions on various aspects of judiciary and in giving legal opinions. Justice Misra reminds us that the robe we wear is not made of cloth, it is made of character. From his life, we draw an abiding lesson that one's background need not define one's destiny, and with education and resolve, even the humblest beginning can lead to greatness. Distinguished guests and dear friends, as we remember Justice G.K. Misra today, let us reaffirm our commitment to the values he stood for. As we honor his memory, let us ensure that Lotus from swamp continues to bloom for generations to come. May this book inspire the young lawyers to walk straight, judges to stand firm, and society to believe again that integrity still walks in ropes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Justice Aradhe. Before inviting Suryakant Padhi to propose the official vote of thanks, again I want Biraja Babu, he wants to speak something, he wants to add something. Please come to the dais, sir.
Playing bridge, swimming, bodybuilding. He swam because he had to cross Brahmani River in order to get to the other side of it. There was no bridge there. So he had to swim. Second thing is, there was no school in his village. So in the earlier days, there was no transport. So they were riding horses to come to Dhenkanal to go to BB High School, Dhenkanal. So these are the things which I had to add to Ananga because he brought it out. I remember when school, I used to go to RAVENSHAW Collegiate School for some reason to pay some fees of my elder brothers who, I don't know why they were not paying it, whatever. And I saw him playing tennis after court hours. In the district judge's court, there was a tennis court at that time, in district judge's court. So he was playing tennis. So I came and asked him. Now, many people wondered, despite, and then we used to play in the village. There was a huge field, and in whatever puja time, we used to play football. And we were shocked at that young age to see my father, and pardon my saying it, with a huge pot belly, kicking a ball from this side to the other side, and everybody clapped. I mean, that is his, and bodybuilding, because he did bodybuilding, and he kept on telling me, never do bodybuilding. I said, why? If you do it and stop it, you'll get a pot belly. So I stopped. This was what he said. So anyway, the last thing which I want to say is I forgot to mention that I dedicate this book to my middle brother, Bhavani Prasad Misra, who was, who's no more. He passed away last year. And that I just want to share with you. Sorry I did not mention it earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Misra, for your kind addition. Yeah. Okay, now we want to